want you to think about the last card you really wanted. Not a card you casually liked. Not a card where you were like, yeah, that would be cool to own one day. I mean, the card. The one you kept searching for. The one you checked comps on. The one you watched auction for. The one you kept going back to on eBay telling yourself, I'm not buying it right now. I'm just looking. Which, by the way, is one of the biggest lies we tell ourselves in this hobby. I'm just looking. No, you're not. You're mentally moving money around like a financial advisor for shiny cardboard. But think about that card that we're talking about now. The one you told yourself, if I can just get this one, I'll be good for a while. Now, here's my question to you. How long did a while last? Was it a week? Was it a month? Was it a few days? Because I've started noticing something about this hobby. A lot of collectors don't actually know what winning feels like. We know what chasing feels like. We know what wanting feels like. We know what tracking a package feels like. We know what refreshing an auction feels like. We know what waiting on grades feels like. But actually winning, actually sitting there and being satisfied. I think that part is way harder than people would like to admit to us because every time we accomplish a goal in this hobby, the reward isn't just peace. The reward is a new goal. You want the card, then you want it to be graded. Then you want it to be a PSA 10. Then you want the matching card or the sequential set. Then you want the sealed box. Then you want the full set or the master set. Then you want the Japanese version, every language. Then the next grail. And before you know it, the thing you spent months chasing is sitting on the shelf while you're chasing something completely, entirely different. So today, I want to talk about something that I think a lot of collectors feel but don't really say too often. Why does winning in this hobby sometimes not feel like winning? All right, before we jump in, if you enjoy these kinds of conversations, whether you're watching on YouTube or Spotify or Apple Podcasts, following the show, subscribing, dropping a like, it helps a ton. I'm trying to do something a little different here, less fake hype, more honest conversations, vendor collector side of things, and how to enjoy the hobby without absolutely losing our minds. So if that sounds like your thing, well, then I appreciate you being here. All right, let's dive in. The easiest way to explain this entirety is the moving finish line. Because I think every collector has experienced this. You start with one goal, right? Just one. Maybe it's I want this chase card. Maybe it's I want to complete this entire binder. Or I really want one clean vintage hollow. And at first, those goals feel very clear, very simple, and very reasonable. You're not just asking for the world. You're not trying to be the biggest collector on Instagram. You're not trying to build or buy every card ever made. You just want that one thing. Then you get it. And for a moment, it feels incredible. You're excited. You love it. You finally did it. You have it. You hold it. You look at it. And then you put it in the slab case or in the binder. You post it on social media and show it off to friends. You admire it. And then slowly, almost quietly, the finish line moves. Now it's not enough to just own that card. Now you want a cleaner copy. Now you want it to be graded. Now you need it to be a PSA 10. Now you got the PSA 10, now you want the matching card or the sequential set. Then all of a sudden you want the entire full evolution line. Then you want the Japanese version, the Turkish version, the Chinese version, the English version. You want all of them. And now that original goal, the thing you told yourself that would make you feel satisfied, has become the starting point for 5 new goals. That's where this hobby is getting sneaky, guys. Because progress feels good. Goals feel great. Chasing something feels amazing. But if every completed goal immediately creates a new one, you never actually let yourself enjoy the win. You just turn every win into a new doorway. And behind every doorway is another chase, another purchase, another submission, another want list, another empty slot, and another reason to feel like, no, you're not done yet. And that's the part I think that all of us collectors have to be careful with. Because collecting should have goals. Goals are fun. Goals give your collection a purpose or a direction. There's nothing wrong with having a grail. There's nothing wrong with wanting that clean copy or wanting a PSA 10. But at some point, you have to ask yourself, am I building a collection, or am I just constantly moving the finish line so I never have to feel like I'm finished? Because those are very different. And I think a lot of us, without realizing, are chasing the next checkpoint more than we're actually enjoying the collection itself. Now, there's something called a dopamine trap, right? Here's where I think it gets even more interesting. I don't think collectors are only addicted to the cards. I mean, a lot of us are, but I don't think that's it. I think a lot of collectors are addicted to the anticipation. That might be the bigger overall picture here. Think about the moments in the hobby that feel the most exciting to you. It's not always just owning the card. Sometimes it's the hunt or the chase. Sometimes it's finding that listing in an eBay snipe. Sometimes it's the entirety of negotiating the deal and the story that you have to tell, or watching the auction with just 2 minutes left like a shot clock buzzer. Maybe it's tracking the package and seeing that it's out for delivery. Maybe it's waiting for your PSA grades to finally pop and find out what you got. It's refreshing your email like an absolute lunatic, because I know I do. Or opening the mailbox, cutting open that package that you got. It's that tiny window of time where you don't fully have the thing yet, but you're close. That feeling is so powerful. And honestly, sometimes that feeling is stronger than the ownership itself. That's kind of crazy to admit, but I think it's true. Because how many times have you wanted something for weeks or months and finally got it, and 2 days later you're already browsing for the next thing that you want? The card didn't just disappoint you. The card is still great, but the anticipation is gone. It's like Christmas being over. And once the anticipation is gone, your brain starts looking for the next hit, the next auction, the next chase, the next mail day, the next submission. And that's dangerous because a lot of collecting feels like a treadmill. You're moving, you're spending, you're accomplishing, you're checking off all these boxes, but somehow you're still in that same place emotionally. You're still wanting, you're still chasing, you're still feeling like that real satisfaction is just one little card away, one grade away, one package away, one set away. And I think a lot of collectors confuse excitement with fulfillment. Excitement is the spike, fulfillment is the foundation. Excitement is opening the package. Fulfillment is still being happy you own the card 6 months later. Those are not at all similar. Well, they're similar, but they're not the same thing. And the hobby is really good at giving us excitement. I think we all know this. It is very good at that. New sets dropping, new artwork, new chase cards, new announcements, new leaks, new grading returns, new pickups, new videos, new everything. But fulfillment, that has come from you. The Pokemon Center, the Pokemon hobby can provide something, but you have to feel fulfilled, and that comes from within. The hobby can give you something to chase, but it cannot tell you when to be satisfied. That part is always going to be on us. Now, one of my favorite way to compare the hobby is to the gym. Now, a lot of you may know this, you may not. I used to be a personal trainer for a little bit. And if you've ever been in the fitness world or into lifting or into just going to the gym in general, you know exactly what I'm talking about or you're about to. Think about the skinny guy that walks into the gym and looks at the stronger guy and goes, man, I wish I looked like that. Meanwhile, that same stronger guy is looking at that ripped guy across the room going, man, I wish I looked like that. And that ripped guy is looking at someone even bigger, leaner, stronger, better conditioned, more athletic, thinking the exact same thing, so on and so forth. Nobody ever feels finished. Nobody ever feels like they made it. Everybody is looking for that next version. And if you're not careful, the mirror becomes a scoreboard that you can never win. Collecting kind of works the same way. The collector with 10 cards wants 100 cards. The collector with 100 cards wants a grail. The collector with a grail wants a bigger grail. The collector with a sealed product wants cases. The collector with cases want trophy cards. The trophy cards then want to be something that's even more rare. Everybody is looking up the ladder. And the problem with always looking up the ladder is that you forget to look down and realize how far you have truly climbed up that ladder. That is so huge because I guarantee there is someone out there who would look at your collection and think, dang, I wish I had that. Meanwhile, you're sitting there thinking your collection isn't good enough, and that's a trap. You're comparing your behind the scenes reality to someone else's highlight reel. And the same way the skinny guy at the gym doesn't see the years of training behind the ripped guy's physique, collectors don't always see the years behind someone else's collection. They don't see the time that you've spent. They don't see the money that was spent. They don't see the mistakes that happened, the failures. They don't see the missed deals and the overpays and the years of slowly building. The years, people, years it takes for some of these people. They just see the final picture and think to themselves, why don't I have that? And that mindset will rob you blind if you let it. That's not just financially, it's emotionally. Because it turns the hobby into a constant reminder of what you don't have instead of a celebration of what you do have. And that's backwards. Now, this is where social media makes everything so much harder. Not because social media is evil, it's not. I'm not doing the whole internet is bad thing. I use social media, we all know this. I'm literally using it right now. I love parts of social media. Most of us would have not found each other or found some of our favorite friends within the hobby without social media. But we have to be honest about what it does. 20 years ago, your comparison pool was much smaller. Maybe you compared your collection with your friends, maybe some friends at school, maybe somebody at your local card shop that you had met, maybe a cousin or a neighbor. But that was just about it. Today, you're comparing your collection with the entirety of the world every single time you swipe open your phone. Every swipe is somebody's biggest hit. Every swipe is somebody's PSA return, somebody's sealed wall, somebody's grail pickup, somebody's card haul, somebody's investment play that they just made, somebody's new master set or binder tour, or they finally added this one post. And even if you're happy for them, which most of us are, your brain still absorbs it over and over all day, every time you open your phone. And eventually your collection starts feeling smaller and smaller, not because it changed, but because your reference point changed. Nothing about your collection got worse during this process. You didn't lose any cards, the cards didn't change their artwork. Your favorite cards didn't stop being your favorite cards. Your binder didn't just become bad overnight. You just saw somebody else's collection and suddenly started to feel different. That's dangerous. Social media doesn't just show us cards, it changes the scoreboard. And the scoreboard used to be, do I enjoy my collection? Now the scoreboard can become, does my collection look impressive compared to everyone else's collection? And that is a brutal game to play because there's always someone with more. More cards, more money, more followers, more time in the hobby spent over the entirety of years, maybe lifetimes. And people have more connections and more inventory. Maybe they have better setups, more everything. And if success is based on comparison, then you're cooked. You are never going to win that game. Because even if you pass one person, there's going to be another person above them, and another person above them, and another person above them. The ladder never ends. That is why I think one of the healthiest things as a collector can do is define success before social media defines it for them. Because if you don't decide what enough looks like to you, the internet will convince you that enough is always one more card away, and you'll be always looking up that ladder. Now, this is another part that makes this even more complicated. The hobby is built to keep moving, right? And I don't even mean that in a bad way. That's just how it kind of works, especially with the Pokemon hobby. Pokemon is not going to stop making new sets. I think they've made that pretty clear. Collectors are not going to stop posting new pickups on social media. Vendors are not going to stop selling cards. Grading companies are not going to stop promoting submissions. Content creators are not going to stop talking about the next chase. That is the entirety of the ecosystem of the Pokemon hobby. And honestly, a lot of this is what makes the hobby fun. New artwork is fun. New sets are fun. New chase cards are fun. New card shows are fun. Grading can be fun. Mail days can be fun. But the same machine that makes the hobby exciting can also make it absolutely exhausting. Because the second you catch your breath, there's something new. A new set, a new promo, a new product. Every time you look around, there's a new Japanese release, a new English release, a new special illustration rare, a new sealed box people say is underpriced and it's time to invest, a new card everyone thinks is undervalued and you should buy it, a new trend, a new chase, a new reason to feel behind. And that's not always intentional, but it's not also some evil master plan. It's just the momentum of the hobby that keeps on going. But if you don't have a strong sense of what you're actually wanting from the hobby, the momentum will drag you everywhere you go. That's how collectors end up buying things they don't even really care about. Not because they're dumb or they made a bad choice, it's just because everything feels so urgent. Everything feels like an opportunity. Everything feels like if I don't grab this now, I'll regret it later. That is FOMO, people. FOMO is not success. FOMO can make you move, FOMO can make you spend, FOMO can make you chase blindly, but FOMO does not create a meaningful collection. It creates anxiety with a shipping label on it. And I think a lot of collectors are mistaking movement for progress. Just because you're buying doesn't mean you're building. Just because you're adding doesn't mean you're improving. Just because you're collecting and your collection is growing, it doesn't mean that your enjoyment is growing with it. And that's the part that I feel like isn't spoken about enough. A collection can get bigger while the collector gets less happy. And that should really make us pause a little bit. I think one of the biggest traps in the hobby is becoming a checkbox collector. And listen, I love a good checklist. I have a little bit of OCD. I'm a bit of a perfectionist. There's nothing wrong with setting goals. There's nothing wrong with set collecting. There's nothing wrong with wanting to complete something, but some things, sometimes the checklist just takes forever and it takes over your life. At first, you're collecting because you love the cards, then slowly you're buying the cards because they're just empty spaces. You don't even necessarily like every card, you just need the slot filled to feel whole. You don't need it because it means something, you need it because the binder looks unfinished without it. Now, that can be fun in moderation, but if you're not careful, you can be collecting cards and making it feel like homework or a side project. And the second the hobby starts feeling like homework, check yourself. Because nobody got back into Pokemon to feel like they had homework. I hate homework, honestly, but nobody opened packs as a kid thinking, I can't wait to optimize this into a spreadsheet of obligations. We got into it because it felt fun, it felt nostalgic, it felt exciting, it felt personal, it felt like discovery. But somewhere along the lines, a lot of collectors started treating this like a hobby, like a task list, right? Like a grocery list. They need this card, they need this grade, they need this set, they need this slab, they need this sealed product, they need this special promo, they need this chase, they need this display, they need this post, they need to do this post, they need to create this post, they need to do this in the hobby, they need to do that in this hobby, they need a reaction, they need validation. Need, need, need. And eventually you have to ask, do I actually need this? Or did the hobby convince me I'm behind without it? That question will save you a ton of money and probably a lot of stress too. Now, what does winning actually look like in this hobby? Is it having the biggest collection? Is it having the most expensive card? Is it the highest grade that you could possibly have? Is it the rarest item? Is the most sealed product that you could fit in your house? Is it the most followers on any of the social media platforms? Is it the most impressive shelf that you could possibly have? Maybe for some people, sure, these things might be the things that actually matter. If that's genuinely what they want and that makes them happy, then great. But for most collectors, I don't think winning is remotely that simple. Because if winning is based on having the most, you probably never feel like you've won. There's always someone with more, always. So maybe winning needs a different definition. Maybe winning is being able to look at your collection and feel proud without needing someone else to validate it for you. Maybe winning is having a binder that makes you smile even if none of the cards are even expensive within it. Maybe winning is knowing what you collect and why you collect them. Maybe winning is passing on something hyped because it doesn't fit your collection, because you don't actually want what everybody's telling you to want. Maybe winning is not feeling pressured to chase every new thing. And maybe winning is building something slowly and actually enjoying the process. Because here's the thing, the hobby will always give you another finish line. Always. You have to decide which finish lines actually matter to you. You have to figure out which race you actually want to race in. That's the difference between collecting and being dragged around by this hobby. Now, I don't think the Pokemon hobby has a simple success problem because collectors are greedy or spoiled or impossible to satisfy. I think it's deeper than that. I think we love the chase, we love the progress, we love anticipation, we love seeing something grow. And none of that is bad. That's the part that makes collecting the most fun. But if the finish line moves every time you reach it, you have to be careful. Because you can spend years chasing success and never stop long enough to realize you already built something worth enjoying. Just look at it. Maybe it's not the person with the rarest cards. Maybe it's not the person with the highest grades. Maybe it's the most successful collector is not the person who can look at what they already have and genuinely enjoy it. Not because it's complete, not because it's worth the most, not because the internet approved it and you got validation, but because it means something to them. That might be the real win. The hobby will always have another card, another set, another grail, another grade, another chase. Another reason to move the finish line. So maybe the goal isn't finally reach the end. Maybe the goal is stop moving the finish line long enough to enjoy where you are. And honestly, I think a lot of collectors, myself included sometimes, probably need that reminder. All right, that's enough. I've talked enough. I've had enough caffeine. So I appreciate you guys for watching. I appreciate you guys for listening wherever you're listening. And honestly, I want to hear your thoughts on this one. What does success actually look like for a collector? Is it the size of the collection, the value, the memories, the discipline, the ability to say no? Let me know. I read everything, and some of the best conversations are had from these episodes. And honestly, it happens in the comments. So let me hear what you got. And if I don't hear from you, I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.